The following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
That bitch, even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems, that's the human in me. Bling bling, then I solve them, that's the goddess in me. You coulda had a bad bitch, not committal. Help you with your career, just a little.
Hey everybody, welcome to SOFLO SASS. I am Barbara. Thank you for tuning in again with us today. This is my new background that we're going to use. I think it's so super cool. We're outside in Florida. I'd like to welcome everybody to our show, and we have the fur babies out here as well. And it's going to be a Super Bowl wrap up show with a couple of my new special guests. Do we have Roxy in the house?
I am here. How's it going?
Hey, Roxy. How was your weekend?
My weekend, looking at your setting, I'm going to just say my weekend was damn cold.
Yeah.
It looks so beautiful where you're at, gotta say. I got snow everywhere.
Oh, I know it was. So did you do anything fun?
Yeah, I went to a reptile show. Yeah, I got to saw
reptiles. Yeah, you look at reptiles.
My little girl, it was her birthday, and she decided to get a gecko. So she was pretty excited about that.
How old?
She's 9 now.
Wow. I know. They grow up too fast, don't they?
They sure do. So, yeah. Your weekend? Are you ready to delve into that?
Oh, my weekend? Okay. You know Jeremy, my 16-year-old son. Yep. He decides that he wants to go see his girlfriend who lives in Orlando, who's 16, because they wanted to celebrate their 6-month anniversary. And he wanted to give her his Valentine's Day present. I'm like, okay, so we'll roll. Get all the way up to Orlando. She lives right by Universal Studios. Get to the hotel right across the street. And we're literally turning right into the hotel. Boom. My car got smashed. I mean, Roxy right now, like my shoulders, I have so much pain. It's throbbing. And I have...
Right?
What?
You totaled your car, so it's got to be painful in your body, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so I've been on the phone all day dealing with insurance companies and the dealership, because thank God I had Audi Care, because they came and picked it up and towed it to the Audi dealership. But now today, it happened on Friday. So now today's Monday, and now I'm dealing with it all. And I have an injured back, and my son's all complaining that he's sore. And I call the Orlando Police Department, and normally, Roxy, when you get to an accident, they take all your info and blah, 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 blah. And here's your ticket, and everybody's on their way. And the inspector comes the next day and, figures out the car.
From the insurance company, right?
Yeah. No. The Orlando Police Department gave me a piece of paper and said, go online to view your, to view the accident report and type in your credit card. It's going to cost you $12.
They're making you pay for your own report?
Yes.
That's insane. You should, number one, be entitled to it. Number two, your insurance company should be entitled to it and making sure that they're taking care of it, not you. That's insane.
I know, which is what they'll do, but the officer never filed the police report yet. And they say it's going to be 3 to 5 business days.
Wow. That's insane.
Yeah. I
guess
it's kind of the new, wave that we're in right now, because the officer was like, children, be away, wear your mask, COVID, and then here's your piece of paper and pull it up online. It's going to cost me $12 freaking.
Wow.
Who knew?
Wow. It's insane.
Yeah. I know. So, yeah. So I have my little dogs out here barking as all the boats go by. So if you hear them barking, excuse me. So anyways, let's bring in our co-host tonight. We're going to do a Super Bowl wrap-up show and talk about the Super Sunday game that we had yesterday, which has always been a big passion in my life. We have Jackson. Hi, Jackson.
Hello, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Thank you for joining Barbara at SOFLO SASS and doing football talk with us tonight. And of course, my buddy Claudio, live from Pittsburgh.
How you doing? Good to see you.
And Jackson and Claudio are jealous of me right now because I'm sitting out here not having to wear a toque or a baseball cap or a hat and a sweater and a hoodie and all that stuff. And I'm sitting out here, watching the sunset.
It was 8 degrees here this morning, snow on the ground, and we're supposed to get more tonight. So I'd rather be where you are.
Sorry, I was just telling Rich a little bit about my weekend. I got into a car accident, so I'm a little sore back here. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
So anyway,
I'll tell you what. My goal in life is to be bored. My goal in life is to be bored stiff. No issues, no problems, but it's never like that.
Yeah, I guess that's why they call them accidents, right?
I guess. I'm glad you're okay. Glad you're here.
All right, so guys, let's talk about. We had this big game yesterday. It was Super Sunday, one of my favorite. I guess they call it holidays. It's really not, but I always look forward to Super Bowl. I've been to probably 10 with my dad, so not going with my dad was kind of sad. But I talked to him the whole time, and I know we talked about this, Claudio, last time on the show that the capacity was not full capacity; it was 33,000. And did you guys see all the cardboard figures sitting out there in the audience?
Yep.
Yeah,
I did. And how about the people who paid to have it on there? I mean,
exactly.
I don't know if I would do that. I don't know if I'd do that.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, so 31-9. Really. The only touchdown that the Chiefs got was their touchdown in their airplane landing in Tampa. Right?
That's a good one.
Seriously. So I don't know. I mean, what was your take, Jackson? What was your take, Claudio?
Well, the first thing that hit me was that Kansas City was trying to be a little too cute. I know they do a lot of motion and a lot of movement, but they were trying to be a little too cute. And another thing that hit me was when they got hit, how flustered they got, how they lost their composure. And it reminded me of Mike Tyson in his heyday. Whenever he would walk into the ring and the fighters were pretty much intimidated and lost before the first punch was even thrown. And I remember when he fought Evander Holyfield, the first punch of the first fight, Tyson landed a big shot and Evander didn't move and he hit him back. Okay. Mm-hmm. And that was the time that Tyson bit Holyfield's ear. And it reminded me of that. It seemed like when Kansas City, in my opinion, they've been scoring a bunch of points. They have this great quarterback, great offensive geniuses on the sidelines, and they were going to score at least 35, 40 points. Well, when that didn't happen, when the Tampa defense did a fantastic job from Todd Bowles to the players, I think that flustered them. And then Tom Brady, being in Miami, being in Florida, you guys remember Bob Greasy. Bob Greasy was always considered a surgeon as a quarterback. He would just cut you up, right? And that's what Tom Brady did yesterday. And that reminded me of that. So they did a fantastic job. And Kansas City did not make the big adjustments like you're supposed to do at halftime. And Tampa Bay does something that I always do as a coach. I tell my team, if we're up 10, let's score 11. If we're down 10, let's score 11. Don't worry about the score of the game. Just play. And Tampa played. And I got to say something real quick. Everybody's talking about Tom Brady, and that's great. And Fournette did a great job. We can get into all that. But the one guy you guys have out that way that I think is going to be a megastar, and I think he's one of the top 3 or 4 defensive players in the league, is Devin White. Everywhere you look, number 45. I mean, what a smart, aggressive, talented guy that guy is. And so he's going to be a star if he's not already.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Let's start out with the game from the start, though, too. I mean, I thought the national anthem was wonderful. The flyby with the planes flying over the stadium was amazing. And then the game started, and I don't know. I mean, when I watched the whole game, it was kind of like a walk in the park for Brady. I mean, he did not really have to. I mean, it was so easy for him to show up to this game and really not do much.
He broke it down into three simple, he broke the game down very much. The run the ball, the screen passes, and then an occasional play action. They didn't have many big, long passes or anything, but when they did, it was because they would run the ball down Kansas City, and then they would hit them with it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, for sure. I completely agree with you. But I just kind of wish Mahomes would have showed up more. I don't think he had the protection. I don't really think that, he kept, throwing the ball and his receivers weren't there. And I don't know. And Gronk, let's talk about Gronk. He was so on it yesterday.
A Pittsburgh guy. I got to throw that in. You know what? He's such a big athletic guy. And like Jackson kind of said about Tom Brady, there's nothing that you're going to throw, no defense that you're going to throw against Brady or Gronkowski that's going to confuse them. And it isn't he had a nice season, he had a good season, but he seemed refreshed. He seemed like he had some bounce in his step. And I think Brady, crunch time, which is a Super Bowl, trusted him because of their past history, obviously. And like they both said, they know what each other's thinking. They kind of know they know what route he's going to run and where he should throw the ball, etc. And I was happy for him, and I'm glad he came back, and I'm glad they won. Like I said, I'm a fan of both of theirs, and they were both. You know what? Everybody who scored yesterday for Tampa wasn't on the team, I believe, last year, if I'm not mistaken. So Absolutely. They were good acquisitions. Good acquisitions.
Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown. Which comeback player, I really like Antonio Brown. He went through a lot past 2 off seasons after getting cut from Pittsburgh. Glad to see him back. And
well, you know what? Whether it was some of it was his fault, to be honest with you, because me being here in Pittsburgh, I saw and heard a lot of the stuff. But I'm glad that you always like to see people turn things around. And I know a lot of people here were upset that he did well, but he ran a great route. That's not an easy route to run. A 1-yard route because everybody's playing in. Okay, so you really don't have a whole lot of room to use that speed. But instead of using speed, he used his quickness, and it was a great route. He made a fake right turn, I believe, or left. He made a fake left jump, and he turned his right, and the ball was there. It was a great move, and it was not an easy play.
Claudio, back to the Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady. What did you think about them breaking Joe Montana and Jerry Rice's postseason scoring record? They have 13 total touchdowns in the postseason.
Yeah, that's a great question because I'm a huge Joe Montana fan. Okay, another guy from Pittsburgh, and he's an Italian guy, so I got to root for Joe Montana. But that was one of my things about Brady, to be honest with you. Whenever they used to say he was the greatest. Well, it's hard for me to say anybody was better physically than Dan Marino, although Mahomes is going to be up there, and Joe Montana. But having said that, you have to put Brady up there. But, records are made to be broken, as they say. And, Montana's always going to be that legend. He's one of those guys that you're not going to knock off. And Jerry Rice, obviously, is a Hall of Fame legend as well. And you know what? There's room on the dish or on the plate for Brady and Gronkowski. And, hey, they did it. They deserved it. And so you have to congratulate them for sure.
Well, and you remember, Claudio, when you and I started talking about football, and Jackson, I don't know if you know the story, but when I heard that Brady was signing to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what did I first say?
You were upset. You didn't like it.
What?
Because you were so used to rooting against New England.
Right, but I was spot on because I said the only reason why Brady is going to go to Tampa Bay is because no other football team has played a Super Bowl in their hometown.
Oh yeah.
And they just they accomplished it yesterday.
They sure did. And you have to give them a lot of credit. Here? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What, Roxy?
We got a comment. Didn't know if you wanted to address it or not.
Kansas City had no chance against the GOAT. I heard the Bucs coach, let's let Brady run on the offense alone, 43 and still the best. Gotta agree with Kirk, yeah.
Well, one thing that I, as a coach, now offensively, I call all the shots. But on defense, I like the pitcher and catcher kind of do their thing. I'll interject, obviously, but when it's good to have somebody that you trust. And Brady, like I said,
sure.
Arians knows, and
especially
Arians knows, and Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, if he's going to go back to Tampa, start a new team, win the Super Bowl, play it in a stadium, set another record of a Super Bowl playing in their home stadium, and then Gronk comes out of retirement. I mean, it was brilliant.
Yeah, and I agree with. I mean, Leftwich obviously had his hands in it, and Arians had his hands in it. But I agree when you have somebody of Brady's ilk and experience, and he actually a former an old Hall of Fame quarterback, Fran Tarkenton from the Minnesota Vikings, always uses a phrase, "having your hands in the soil." And Tom Brady has certainly had his hands in the soil, and he knows that nobody studies the game more than him. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are known for knowing every single thing that the defense is going to throw to them. That's the fire whistle, which I hope wasn't going to happen.
Fire.
I don't know if you can hear it.
Yeah, what's the fire whistle, Claudio?
Should you jump up?
You have to dog, I have a fire whistle. I always, every time I do a show, I say, I hope that thing doesn't go off. But it went off.
Well, maybe it's something that you do. Okay, so Brady, 7th Super Bowl win, 5 times MVP. Do you think he should have got the MVP yesterday? Because I was thinking maybe Gronk. I don't know. Jackson, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I feel like Tom Brady deserved it. He definitely came out as the Tom Brady we always expect to see in the Super Bowl, and especially against a young, very talented team like Kansas City. And going out there and doing what he did. Maybe Devin White, he played in its outstanding game. And I always like to see an MVP go to someone other than a quarterback because I feel like it's just become such a quarterback biased award. But
I did, when I was watching the game too, Claudio, let me know your thought on this. I was kind of feeling like the refs were kind of like, okay, Casey's always getting the penalty. Like, where's the penalty, on the Buccaneers? Like the holding call.
They gave up 98 total yards and penalties before halftime. Ridiculous.
A lot of people on Twitter are saying that, the referees were biased and all this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think so. I mean, I think that they saw what I know a few NFL referees. I know one NFL referee and some other Major League Baseball umpires, and they really don't care who wins, who loses. I mean, they see what they see. They know that they're being watched as well, and they want to do a great job too. So I doubt very much that they said, you know what, we're gonna bang Kansas City and help out Tampa Bay. I mean, they saw what they saw. Now they may have missed a few calls, maybe it was a little touchy, some of the calls that they made, but all in all, that didn't jump out at me. Maybe because I was rooting for Tampa Bay, I don't know. But I thought the refs did a fine job, and Kansas City did do what they did. They did do the holds. They did lose their composure a few times, and the referees did what they had to do. So, well,
since you brought up the referees too, did anybody notice the female referee that was out there?
First time in history.
Yeah.
Good for her, right?
And you know what? You didn't. And here's the thing about her. Anything about, like, for example, they say the best boxing referees are the ones you don't even know they're there because they didn't make any mistakes, right? And that's the same with her. And really the whole staff, but you didn't hear anything about her, at least I didn't. So that means that's good. She didn't make any mistakes. So congratulations to her. And me having a daughter, you want, as they say, those ceilings to be broke. So good for her.
Yeah, I definitely commend her for it. That's pretty awesome. Girl power. Yeah. I do believe Barbara froze on the screen there, so you guys can keep on talking. I'll try and get Barbara back, okay?
Jackson and I are the ones that should be frozen, not her. She's in the warm climate. But,
Right.
You look at they're starting to talk about comparing Brady with the greatest athletes of all time, like Michael Jordan and Wayne Gretzky, and they were saying who's the greatest team player, because obviously Gretzky, I believe, won 4, Jordan won 6, I believe, and now Brady with 7. What do you think, Jackson? Can you say that he's the best team player ever?
It's not just him coming back and winning with other teams just to get more people rings. He takes pay cuts. That's another big thing a lot of people don't know about Brady. He takes pay cuts to make his team better and have better players on his team so he can take more people to the Super Bowl and win more Super Bowls. And I believe he's the best team player. I believe he's the best athlete to ever live. He breaks everything down so simple and makes everything seem so easy, but it's not. And he just makes everyone else, like Patrick Mahomes, he has all the flash. He can do the no look passes, the underhand passes, but you don't need that. It's really simple when it comes down to Brady.
Well, see, that's the one question. Matter of fact, I have my own show after this that you can hear on ClaudioRelsano.com. How you like Athlete and Roxy? But but one of the questions I'm going to ask, there you go. One of the questions I'm going to ask one of my guests who's an NFL scout is this, and I'll ask you, Jackson. Again, I'll mention Dan Marino or Patrick Mahomes. Let's just use Patrick Mahomes. Great athlete. I mean, you saw him last night. He was off the ground. He threw a great sidearm pass. And you mentioned the no looks. He's got a fantastic arm, great feet. As a pro baseball scout myself, that's the first thing I look for is athleticism. Great quarterback. Now, if you were to put Mahomes' ability against Brady, okay, you would say that Mahomes, I think, is a better quarterback. My point is, a lot of people say because somebody wins 5 Super Bowls, 4 Super Bowls, he's better than somebody who's won 0. For example, Trent Dilfer, several years ago, won a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. Okay, Dan Marino, who is arguably the greatest quarterback that ever lived, I think, never won one. So is Dilfer better than Marino? So, what do you gauge it against? I mean, that's a big question. What do you think?
I mean, everyone gets lucky 1 or 2 times. Once you get up to the higher numbers, 3, 4, 5, 6, and even 7, then you start to be like, okay, well, this isn't luck, and this is definitely all Brady and everyone else, I guess.
Well, me being here in Pittsburgh, again, to repeat, Terry Bradshaw, I grew up, I'm 56, so I grew up in the first major Steeler era when the Super Steelers, they were called, they won 4 Super Bowls, and a lot of people thought that was never going to happen. But when Terry Bradshaw won 4 Super Bowls, a lot of people said, that's it. Nobody's ever going to win 4 because it is hard. I mean, again, back to Marino. Marino played all those years, 17, 18 years. He played in 1 Super Bowl. It's hard to get in. It's hard to win them, yes, but it's hard to get in them. Hard to get in them, hard to win them. But you know what? Like I said, Brady seems to do everything right. People don't like him. People don't like success for whatever reason. I like him. The reason it isn't that I didn't like him, Jackson. It's just I didn't want anybody to surpass, Montana's numbers, right? But you know what? So what? That's a stupid reason. Seems like a good guy.
Brady. I always had a problem because he is the greatest, and it sucks because when I'm a Seattle Seahawks fan, very big Seahawks fan, and when you look at Brady and it's just how great he is, sometimes you get jealous because you wish that was your team. I'm starting to like Brady because I just want him to just keep going and just keep breaking these records because I like to see it. But
yep, I agree.
I'd say what got me about him was when a few years ago at the Super Bowl, when he was asked who his hero was by this little kid, and it's on YouTube, and he got choked up and he started talking about his dad, and he's very close with his parents. And my parents have passed, but I'm extremely close with my parents. And so that attracted me to him. So for me, it's not just, again, this is just me. I like somebody not just because of how great they are at what they do. I like the type of person they are. And he's a good guy. And like I said, boy, you got to give him credit because there's some quarterbacks out there who have played for years and years and years, and they never got close to a Super Bowl. And here's Tom Brady, what it was his 10th or whatever the hell it was. And he won. What did you think? What was your prediction for the game?
I sadly thought the Chiefs were going to blow them out because the Patriots, the Buccaneers, sorry, I trip up a lot with that. They've been good this season. I feel like they've never been great. and they've been good. They do everything right, but they've never been great. I was sitting there and I was just thinking, I was like, man, I didn't hear about the Buccaneers until later in the season because they had a really hard November, uh,
Yeah.
November month. I think they lost 3 of their games in that month, and after that they went undefeated. But it's just, yeah.
Well, I'd say another key to the. Did Roxy say something?
So that was a good turnover for them.
Yeah. Well, I'd say another thing that was key, and I said this on a few weeks ago on the show, Roxy, was a key to the game is going to be the running game. And between Fournette and Jones, they had 150 yards, about 5.4 yards a carry, which is huge because that makes Brady's job much easier. And to be honest with you, I'll tell you another thing that people were talking a lot about, and that's the coaching on both sides. Kansas City, I mean, it just seemed they didn't have a rhythm to them. And their running back, Edwards-Helaire, he averaged about 7 yards a carry. And then Mahomes averaged about like 6, which, you don't want your quarterback running too much. But there were some signs that they could have run the ball instead of doing what they did. Now, Tampa mixed it up well. But to me, they had a rhythm, whereas they ran when they wanted to and they threw when they wanted to, whereas Kansas City didn't seem like that. And again, you got to give the coaching staff for Tampa, the entire coaching staff, a great deal of credit. Jackson, what did you think about the 4th and goal when they went for it? I happen to like it. What did you think about it?
They were up so many points, and I felt like, what quarter was that? Wasn't that towards third quarter?
It was early.
Was it early? Oh, I think, I remember that, where they got stuffed twice in a row. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with it. Super Bowl, you got to take your chances, especially against a team like that. You don't want to, take the points, but I think they still had the lead. And they still win a 3-and-out. The Chiefs won a 3-and-out next drive, so.
I think it was a fantastic call, even though they didn't make it. And, one thing, I'll tell you a quick story. It was October of 1990. I was 25 years old. It was my first year as a head coach in college. It was my first playoff game as a head coach. And I remember walking towards the dugout. I'll never forget this as long as I live. It was October 2nd, to be honest with you, or 3rd. And I was walking towards the dugout, and I said to myself, just because this has the title of playoff game or postseason game doesn't mean that I have to change the way I coach, which was always aggressive. Okay. Just because it has that title doesn't mean I have to pull back or be a little more conservative. Okay. And when you do that, because I've seen a lot of coaches do it in all sports, they pull the reins back a little bit, and the players know that, they see it and they feel it. They said, man, our coach doesn't have confidence in us. That's not good. Arians yesterday, he went for it. They didn't make it. But so what? He showed that team that they have confidence in them, or that he has confidence in them. And he showed Kansas City, hey, we're not going to buckle down. We're not going to pull back. And plus, you can't beat Kansas City with field goals anyway. You have to score. Yeah. And he also showed his defense, hey, we're going to go for this. If we don't make it, I don't care, because I believe in the defense. And I thought that was a turning point in the game. And you heard the announcers right away say 99-yard drive. And obviously that didn't happen. And I think that's something that everybody just really pounded in everybody's head, how many points Kansas City was going to score. And again, Mahomes he's an unbelievable talent. He really is. He's got the total package. He's got the physical ability. He's got the mind. He's got everything. He's got the attitude. But you have to give Tampa a ton of credit, not just for what they did physically, but also how they were mentally. They did not back down. They were very confident in themselves. Tom Brady yesterday, when he was on the stand on the podium accepting the Super Bowl, the Lombardi Award, he pointed to his team. He said, "Remember, we knew we were going to win this." They were texting and talking. He said, "We knew we were going to win this." They were confident, and that's something that you kind of almost saw right off the bat. They didn't, when they didn't score right away, they didn't panic. They didn't get mad. They didn't go crazy. And like I said, I thought they were going to win. I didn't predict it. I didn't think it was going to be that kind of a score. But I was pretty confident they were going to win. But what else? What did you think about the coaching, Jackson?
Oh, I love the fact, I don't know if you've ever heard it, Bruce Arians likes to let Brady take over a little bit, and I
Yeah,
like that because Bill Belichick never let that happen, and I feel like
yeah.
Brady being able to control certain things on the offense is really good. But another thing, I don't know where you were watching the game on. We were watching on CBS All Access, but there was a moment I saw Patrick Mahomes right before halftime. He had his hands and his face in his hands on the bench, and yeah, I love that you brought that up because I knew he was broken going out of halftime. Their whole team
Well,
was.
you know, again, I mentioned Mike Tyson. He used to literally intimidate professional boxers who were damn good in the ring. Okay. The two guys that he didn't intimidate, one of them was Buster Douglas in February. Well, yeah, February 12th, 1990, or February 11th, 1990. Everybody knew Tyson was going to just beat the hell out of him. Okay.
Mhm.
Buster did fighter physically, and he went into that ring. He didn't care about this guy. He still had thoughts of his mom who passed 2 weeks earlier, and Tyson tried to intimidate him, and Buster wasn't intimidated. And when the bully gets bullied, that's when you got him. I'm not saying Kansas City was a bully, but the media, and I'm sure Kansas City themselves, they said there's no way we're going to lose this game. And don't forget, they beat Tampa Bay earlier in the season. Okay, and who's their wide receiver? The fast guy,
Tyreek Hill.
Hill. Yeah, I mean he had like 200 some odd yards the first quarter when they played him. The announcers were talking about he may break the all-time yardage record for wide receivers this game. He had 200 some yards the first quarter. You didn't hear much about him yesterday. Again, great adjustments by Todd Bowles and the players. Okay. You need the coach and you need the horses. And they just did a fantastic job. And they shut him down. And I think, again, they maybe bullying the bully might not be the right term, but they showed Kansas City, hey, we're not going anywhere. We're a bunch of veterans. We're not worried about you guys. We've been through this kind of stuff before. And that last game that you beat us, we just didn't play well. Okay. And I think Tampa got some, maybe they lost, obviously, but maybe they got a little confidence from that, saying, you know what, we can adjust. We can fix those things that they took advantage of. And they certainly did. They certainly did. And again, maybe I'm being a little biased because I'm a coach, but I just give the coaching staff a fantastic amount of credit. And Kansas City, I just don't know where their heads were. I didn't like the play calling, especially when you have Edwards-Helaire, like I said, 7-1 a carry, and you don't use him. You didn't give him the ball 20. I know you have a stud quarterback, but hell, give him the ball 15, 20 times. Instead of throwing it all over the place and having and another thing, I could be wrong, but with the front four of Tampa, which was fantastic, they were coming in, they were going after Mahomes. Maybe use a draw play, okay? Maybe run the ball more. I don't know, but whatever it is, they did not make the adjustments.
Yeah, I agree.
Now you said you live in Ohio. How'd you become a Seattle fan? Which I used to be a Seattle fan because I mentioned on the show before Chuck Knox, who was like an uncle to me. He grew up where I live here in Swickley, just outside of Pittsburgh. He used to coach the LA Rams, Buffalo Bills, Seattle Seahawks, back to the Rams. So wherever Chuck went, that's who we followed. He had a great run with Seattle. Why do you like Seattle?
Well, first off, I used to live there, and I lived there for a little bit, and big fan of Russell Wilson.
Good.
He won the Walter Payton Man of the Year this year, and yeah, big fan.
You know, he's one of those guys too that, like Mahomes, even though they were down a bunch of points, you thought they could come back because Wilson and Mahomes are just two unbelievable quarterbacks that have that spirit in them. So no matter what the score is, we have a shot to come back. What else did you kind of stood out? You mentioned Mahomes with the hands. We talked about the coaching. But what else kind of stood out for you in that game for both teams?
As I was sitting there in my living room, the biggest thing I saw was just the Buccaneers defense. I couldn't get over that the double team on Tyreek Hill shut down every time. And then when they didn't shut down Tyreek and they went to Travis Kelce, he didn't do anything. He couldn't do anything.
The numbers that Kelsey had pretty much were unimportant, especially since he didn't get into the end zone. But I'm telling you, obviously, Aaron Donald and T.J. Watt being here in Pittsburgh, I hear about him all the time. But Devin White is all over that field. It seemed like there were 4 number 45s, and not just yesterday. The past, I tried to watch as many Tampa games as I could, and he's just all over the place. He's a hitter. He's great on coverage. I think he's going to be a top 3, top 4 defensive player. I think he's one of those guys who has a shot to be Defensive Player of the Year. What do you? When you think of defensive stars, who are some of the guys you think of? I mentioned Watt and Donald. I think White has to be up there. Who do you think should be up there as well?
Hey, before you answer that question, I just want all of our listeners to know that you're tuned in to SOFLO SASS. Our host, Barbara, lost battery power on her laptop, so she's coming back in soon. But you guys are doing an amazing job talking. But I just want everybody to know thank you for tuning in. This is SOFLO SASS, and you can continue.
So you're bringing up honors, like best standout defensive players. Yeah, of course we have Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Devin White, the McCourty twins. There's a lot of people, but the biggest for me, I would say, yeah, the Watt brothers are fantastic. I'm big fans of them.
Yeah, they're great, but I'm going to tell you, people in Tampa should be very excited because now they're obviously starting to say, can they repeat? And I think they can. Fournette still has legs to him. Jones is tough. The offensive line is only going to get better. The defense is only going to get better. And I still think Brady has another year or 2 in him, if not more.
Did you watch any of the post-game interviews, like with Rob and Mike Evans? Well, before they even went to the post-game interviews, Brady said he was coming back. And in one of the post-game interviews, Rob Gronkowski said he doesn't see why he wouldn't. They're going to be back, and I think they'll go get another 1 or 2.
Did Gronkowski say he was coming back?
I think his exact quote was, "I don't see a reason why I wouldn't."
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like a quote of his. Yeah, you think about it, obviously barring injuries, but I think they can definitely repeat. Green Bay is obviously a threat. Seattle's a threat. Who else in the NFC? Oh, the Saints.
The Rams.
Being without Drew Brees, that's going to be a big hit. Who else?
The Rams. They just got
Rams.
Matthew Stafford. That's going to be a very dangerous team. Now they have some first rounders, a new quarterback, a team. It's going to be scary.
Well, so you got the Rams. You have Green Bay. You have who else did I say? Rams,
Buccaneers,
Green Bay.
Seattle.
Oh, yeah, obviously Buccaneers. And who?
Seattle.
So I think those 4. And then you always have a dark horse team out of the blue that comes up. But
I would always never forget, it was just last year when we saw the 49ers. The NFC West is a very tough division. They were very hurt this year, early season injuries. I'd never count them out. They have a lot of talent on their team.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, and I like him a lot, obviously, and he had a nice year. And I think if he comes back healthy, which he should, I think the 49ers are definitely going to be a team to contend with. And don't forget Deshaun Watson. Where is he going to go? He's going to go to a good team probably, and he's going to elevate that team. And in the AFC, I think that's going to be tough because I think Cleveland, okay, you being in Ohio now, Cleveland's going to make some noise. They're going to really improve. They showed me a lot. Baltimore is going to be in it. At Miami, especially if they get Deshaun Watson, they get elevated that much more. I don't know if that's really going to happen, but it's going to be tough. But I tell you what, I'd say the odds of Tampa and Kansas City going back. The odds. I don't remember the last time it happened. The exact same teams went, but I wouldn't count it out. And especially since both teams were relatively young and they're going to bring everybody back. It isn't like some teams, they have a lot of guys who are in the last year of their contracts or are going to retire or who are old or whatever. These teams don't fit that bill. I do think that they have a hell of a shot to come back. But another thing that I was very impressed with yesterday Jackson. That's the field goal kicking. I mean, those guys were dead on. I mean, Kansas City's guy obviously didn't miss. There wasn't a missed field goal or extra point yesterday. And there was a lot of pressure. There was some good rushes. Well, what did you think about it? Did that stand out to you at all?
Yeah, I remember seeing I don't remember his first name. Butker, I think that's his last name. He hit, it was a pretty long one. I think it was 50, a little over 50 maybe. He hit one right down the middle, and I didn't expect that. With full capacity fans, and that's probably their first games of the season, I did not expect any field goals or extra points to be made yesterday.
They were dead on, and that's something that hit me, that they were just so cool and professional, and they did a great job. Now, what did you think about the officiating? I mean, you kind of talked about that a little bit at the beginning of the show. There's a lot of people on Twitter are upset, and then obviously everybody says that they blame Brady for everything. They said that maybe people the refs were siding with them or whatever the heck. They're showing these memes on Twitter and Facebook, which is ridiculous. Funny, but what were your thoughts about it?
Well, like I said, I was watching the game on All Access, and I remember in the beginning of the game, the NFL announcers were like, the Kansas City defense is very touchy. They're very physical defense, and they like to get very physical. And so the holding calls and the unnecessary roughness and I saw it coming. The passing interferences, because once it happened for the first 2 times, and then they had a holding and then a false start, all that. And I was glad because that's how officiating should be. If something happens wrong, it should be called. And there was a lot of stuff that even wasn't called on their side that I saw. And
people don't think about that, though. People don't think about that. Now the big question I'm going to ask you: what did you think of the halftime show, or the commercials, and the halftime show?
I like the commercials. There was a couple funny ones, but the halftime show. I don't remember what the old show they had Cardi B on it. I forget.
Okay. Wayne's World.
Wayne's World. I love that commercial. I thought that one was really funny because I've heard of it. I'm not that old, so. But halftime show was amazing. I love The Weeknd, so I was happy to see him have such a good halftime show.
The commercials, I think people put so much pressure on because years ago they had a bunch of great commercials, and your best commercial was supposed to be for the Super Bowl because that's you have the biggest viewers, right? And the ones that I liked, I did like that one that you mentioned with Wayne's World. I like that one with Ashton Kutcher. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that one. The halftime show, to be honest with you, I thought he sounded good. He did his thing, but I think people expected, more of a show, perhaps, where he was just more singing, and there was some dancing, I guess. But I think people maybe expected more fireworks, so to speak. And don't forget, usually for a halftime show, and I don't know much about The Weeknd. My daughter knew who he was and knew his songs and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, I thought he did good, but it wasn't a spectacle. And again, people have such even for the game itself, Jackson. It's the Super Bowl. People have such high expectations for the Super Bowl, not just the game, but the commercials, and not just the commercials, but the music, right? The halftime show, and it's hard to live up to people's expectations. But to be honest with you, I mean, I thought it was all good. I thought the game was good, maybe because I was pulling for Tampa, or rooting for them, and I thought they were going to win. But I thought it was a good game. I thought the commercials were okay, not as good as maybe some other years, but there was a couple good ones, And I like seeing John Travolta in there, and they had the Edward Scissorhand thing, whatever. I didn't get that one. I didn't understand what the hell that was about, but whatever. And then, like I said, then The Weeknd, I thought he did a good job. I mean, now years ago they had Michael Jackson, they've had Diana Ross, they've had Prince. I think they had Paul McCartney one year. They had last year J-Lo and Shakira. They got.
And
people criticize that.
We're not used to seeing it. They were in the middle of the field, but that was just with the dancers. It all took place on like the I don't know what to call it, but one of the sides of the stadium. It wasn't in the middle of the field like we're used to. We're used to seeing people flying around and all sorts
Right.
of crazy stuff. But it was basic, but I liked it. It was like
Yeah.
stuff was happening, but it wasn't too much. Because usually there's fireworks and then people flying and people singing and
Right.
dancing and running and jumping and throwing stuff. I liked it. Yeah. And the
I do too.
commercials
You know,
not as good as
you
previous
mentioned
years, but
flying.
there were some good ones.
Yeah, you mentioned flying. The very first Super Bowl, I believe in 1967, they had a guy who was like, they had a rocket behind him, and he actually, flew a little bit, and that's what started it all, right? And now, compared to now, it's obviously a huge spectacle. But something I didn't really think about until I was talking to you about it. Not only does the game have a lot of pressure on it, but those commercials have a lot of the people who are coming up with those commercials. Man, we got to come up with something big. We have to have a big name. We have to do something crazy because it is the Super Bowl. It's the biggest sporting event, like Barbara said, being a show. It is like a holiday. People, maybe not so much this year, but people congregate. They go to each other's house, and it's a big deal. And it's a lot of pressure if you think about it. But all in all, it was good. So what would you say on a scale of 1 to 10? The game, the commercials, the halftime, the pregame, the postgame, all of it. What would you say on a scale of 1 to 10?
Pregame. I didn't really watch pregame. Actually, I did. I watched some of the everything total. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I love watching Mahomes suffer, and him knowing that he's not the best and that he needs to slow down a little bit with some of the things he does. And I loved everything about it all night.
You know what? I'm going to say 9.5, 10. I enjoyed it. It was really good. Mahomes, like I said, he's a baseball guy. I'm a baseball guy, and I really appreciate the fact that he can throw sidearm and underneath or dive and throw like a shortstop that I believe he was. Fantastic quarterback, and he's going to be fun to watch. And he is fun to watch. And again, watching Brady. See, I'm a story guy. I like stories, and I was, like I said, going for 7. The other story that they talked a little bit about was, especially at the beginning of the year, is Brady going to do well? Who's going to do better, Brady without Belichick or Belichick without Brady?
Hey, guys.
You saw that. Yes, Roxy.
You've been so amazing. Thank you so much. Barbara wasn't able to connect back with us, but I do have her on speakerphone. So
hey,
say
Barb.
hi.
Hey, guys. We're doing a real super wrap-up show.
I think you went on the boat. You saw how pretty those boats were and how pretty the water was. You said, "The hell with this. I'm going to go on the boat."
Yeah, I did. Claudio, you're calling me out. I did. I went out for a boat ride.
You know what I was thinking? Last year I didn't go, but every year my team, my Carnegie Mellon University baseball team, we go to Tampa.
It's a good wrap-up football.
Hold on.
show.
There's a little lag.
There's
a little lag. So Barbara's talking right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Barbara.
Well, Super Bowl's over. Another football season's going to start. What's your take on what's Bill Belichick going to do?
Retire.
I don't think he'll retire. I think he has enough of. I don't want to.
Maybe he has a lot of very much rage that now Brady's still succeeding without him. Maybe he's going to try to build a god team and go beat Brady in the Super Bowl.
I agree. He's definitely not going to quit. He's going to try to build something up and say, hey, because a lot of these coaches are like that. I'm not, but a lot of these coaches are like that. I can win without this guy. I can win without that guy. And you know what? You can be the greatest coach in the world. You need the horses. How come Belichick didn't get a ton of credit or all this adulation when he was in Cleveland? Okay, he didn't have the horses. You have to have the horses, plain and simple.
Well, I got to let you guys know that we are up for time. So thank you again. And Barbara's going to give her end speech here. Go ahead, Barbara.
All right, guys. Thanks for doing the Super Bowl wrap-up show tonight. Jackson, you are awesome. I would love for you to join me and Claudio every once a month on our sports radio show. And then I want to everybody have a great week. Tune in next Monday. It is Valentine's Day weekend. If anybody's got a love in their life, whether it's a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, even your mom and dad, just reach out to them and give them something special and let them know that that you love them.
That's right.
Yep. Tune in next Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Valentine's edition of SOFLO SASS.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Why are men great till they gotta be great? Woo! I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch. Even when I'm crying crazy, yeah, I got boy problems, that's the human in me. Bling, bling, then I solve them.